Coffee and Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee and Pan Dulce.
Barb Bacon, and I'm a community advocate here in South Charlotte. If I had my buttons on today, it would be, let's get some gun control. I'm tired of looking at the news and seeing this. Black Lives Matter in honor of our friend Joel. And let's have equal rights for everybody.
Hello, this is Jenny-Jaymes Gunn. I am a community advocate here in Charlotte, North Carolina for LGBT women's rights with the National Organization for Women, gun sense laws with Moms and Men Action, and anything that extends equity to all. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Christian Cano. You're the co-host. My buttons are Moms and Men Action, gun sense legislation, healthcare for all, Medicare for all, and also in my heart, Black Lives Matter on behalf of Joe Oldham, who's a guest of ours who passed away last year. That's it.
Good morning, everybody. It is Coffee Pan Dulce time, and gosh, it's May 15th. If you're keeping track at home, kids, it is gone by so fast, and I'm not mad about it. Too quick, but honestly, the only month I like it to slow down for is obviously June, which is International Pride Month. And it's a very celebratory month for somebody like me that is an openly queer and LGBT person. And, so it's also summer, which I also love summer. So there's like two things that I really love about June, amongst everything else. But yeah, we're coming into that part of the year that's like my favorite time of the year, where you can be outdoors every day and you can hear the cicadas and everything else. And
cicadas.
Yes, the cicadas.
The invasion of the cicadas. We'll have to do a show about the
100%. We did one before, so
that's right. That's right.
Maybe we do a Sounds of Summer show during the summer and talk about fun childhood memories. Because honestly, we talked off camera about it, and because we have a lot of conversations off camera for our people just tuning in or don't know us as well. We are two long-standing friends that do the bootleg shows. We do Coffee and Pan Dulce, which you're listening to right now, and then we also do Two Queers and Truck. And so, depending on what kind of flavor you like, we got two different flavors. We got guns that look like knives and knives that look like guns.
That's right.
Fun with it, and it's our therapy for the week, and y'all just happen to tune in and listen to the nuttiness. And anyway, back to the show, and Christian, take it away.
Yes. As Jenny said, welcome everyone to Coffee and Pan Dulce. I'm Christian Cano, one of your co-hosts, along with Jenny Gunn. So, Barb Bacon has been on hiatus for a while, and our hearts and thoughts are with her. She actually was in an accident, and so she is in recovery. We do hope that she is getting better. She wanted to let us know that was the reason she had been missing, and I apologize. I did not know exactly that was the case, but she was still doing volunteer work and stuff. And so we do hope to see Barb back, and she wants to come back as soon as she can feel better. She's doing, I think, weekly or daily therapy to get back. So, we want to thank everyone. We also want to thank everyone who joins us on Facebook Live, but also the thousands who listen to us on your favorite audio podcast platform. Jenny and I as Jenny was alluding to, we had a conversation right before the taping, as we do all the time. We're trying to kind of fine tune our shows here so we can give you what you expect when you listen to us. But today's show is a clickbait show. I'm going to openly admit it. The title of the show is called The New School Voucher Welfare Queens. We've done a couple of shows about school vouchers, and are they the new welfare queens? We're kind of taking off the welfare queen rhetoric that the conservatives used to have about, black and brown people, which is
still do.
Yeah, exactly. Still do. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, and so we'll be talking about that. But before we do that, we want to talk about Barb's current events.
And this is Barb's current events.
All right, here we go, Jen. You ready?
Yep.
I got 3 really good ones for you. First one, when you're watching this, we tape a week before we drop it. When you're watching this, the criminal trial of former President Trump is currently on, and Stormy Daniels was the witness on the witness stand. And as everyone remembers, Trump has been denying he ever slept with her and all this kind of stuff. Well, she was on the witness stand, and she described his pajamas, his what he looked like, and just the way he looked, and she described his toiletry bag. She described the floor in the bedroom. So she was very descriptive. And now my impression is now he's saying, well, even if I did sleep with her, I was just trying to hide it from my wife. So it's interesting how now he's not saying he didn't sleep with her. He's just saying, but even if I did, but it really wasn't me. If I did. So anyway, I want to hear what you have to say about that if you have anything. The second one is some rankings came out from a very conservative kind of place, and they ranked states on where they rank on education and fiscal stability. Well, the state of Texas ranked right in the middle. So all of this rhetoric about the great state of Texas, they're not ranked in the top. They're ranked right in the middle at 26th. So I just want to let you know that. And just to give you a little context here, the state that Jenny and I live in, North Carolina, was ranked 18. So we were ranked 10 spots above. So, and this is from a very conservative ranking system. So that's the next one. The last one is kind of a little troubling to me. Donald Trump, who's running for president again, has been sharing all this rhetoric, and he's really been ramped up the last month about undocumented, or he calls them illegal aliens. This is what he calls them. But undocumented, he's saying that's his new thing now. He's going to round them all up and send them back. And he's getting really serious about it. And the last rally he was at, he said he wanted to reinstall Eisenhower's administration did in the summer of 1955 to end undocumented immigration by deporting hundreds and thousands of Mexicans. So he wants to do millions of them. And at that time, it was called Operation Wetback. Now, he's not using the word wetback, but he said he wants to do everything like they did back then. Round them all up and he wants to put them in detention camps and then send them all back. So those are the 3, Jen. Tell me what you have to think, or what are your thoughts on those?
Well, I'll start with the xenophobia and the craziness that surrounds immigration, and how 99% of it is a non-controversy and a bullshit. And to cut to the chase, first of all, it's not necessary. Second of all, these people are Americans, and whether you agree with it or not, I believe in the American dream. If you don't believe in the American dream, then maybe you should question your own thoughts and patriotism and all the bullshit that goes with nationalism. And we're either a country that's built on immigrant labor, just like Manolo's Bakery, just like many great, immigrant-built businesses. Many of our iconic businesses that were built were started by immigrants. Trump's family built their wealth on immigrant. They were immigrants too. Like Trump's grandfather literally was an immigrant. Trump's daddy was an anchor baby. And these people now turn around, and they're predominantly white people mostly, and that turn around and act like we've been here for 1,000 years. When we've been, maybe Trump's only second generation American, just like me. On one side of my family, I'm a second generation American. That literally my grandmother, first language and her primary language of commerce when she moved here when she was 10 years old was German. She did not speak English when she arrived. And she would be no different than somebody from El Salvador today, that their primary language would be Spanish.
Yeah.
And
good point.
We are either pro-immigration and we make this work like we always fucking have. We've always been a country of immigrants. We've all been invaders from somewhere, except for the indigenous nations that we wiped out 400 years ago, and that most of them aren't even in existence. We either got to decide that that's who we are, that we're the great melting pot, or we just need to admit that we're full of white caucasity and chicanery and fuckery, and that we are a xenophobic, paranoid, murdering nation, and we just hate people. But being that kind of a nation is also going to devastate our economy when you propose things like shutting off all trade with Mexico because you're afraid a couple poor people are going to cross the border. Just that $1 trillion of trade goes with it. So when you cut off your nose to spite your face, just like the China sanctions damaged our economy more than it helped. And it destroyed the soy farmer in this country because they started buying Russian soy because we're not the only country that grows the soybean. And when you do stupid stuff like that, you get stupid prizes. Period. End of story. Nasty ass Donald Trump. Like I had a tough time reading Stormy Daniels' testimony because when she started getting descriptive, I'm like, oh no, don't even want to pick this dude. But just the audacity that he has. First of all, that anybody would be that stupid to believe. Like, dude, you paid hush money.
Yeah.
Whether your attorney did it on your behalf or they didn't do it on your behalf, they just assumed certain things, whether your campaign was involved, whatever. The reality is you didn't pay hush money because y'all went and played checkers in Central Park.
Exactly, yeah.
If you needed to cover something up from your wife, I'm assuming she wouldn't have worried about it if Stormy Daniels was a guest on The Apprentice. That I think it was probably a little bit more involved with the nether regions of Mr. Donald J. Trump. And you don't need to cover up something that's not controversial. Like, if I'm with another woman, because I have a current girlfriend right now, I've been dating off and on for like 2 months, and we've kind of got kind of serious the last few weeks. And I went with another woman and we hung out at a hotel room, for example. Probably wouldn't be one of the things I would lead with when she asked, how was your day, Jenny? Is probably want to maybe not necessarily talk about that part of the day, whether I did anything or not. The notice of improprieties, which you try to cover up, just like Mr. Make Little Hands is trying. The reason why you paid over $100,000 in hush money, dumbass, is because you need to cover it up because you were running for president and you were a banging porn star.
Yeah.
And Stormy Daniels is very pretty. And so I can see why he wanted to do it, you know, because Donald Trump is not pretty. He's got a face for radio.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the thing about Texas, they're 43rd or 44th on spending money on education. They are they're consistently in the bottom in a lot of human services. You know, they got an insane attorney general. They've got a lot of logistical problems. And we haven't gotten into any of the electricity issues that have actually killed people.
Yeah.
And they can't keep their heaters or their air conditioners on. And we're about to come up to the hottest time of the year. And because we're in a La Nina year this year, Texas is probably going to be crazy fucking hot. It's probably going to be you know, hotter than normal according to the climate change and the and the procrastinators, and they're usually spot on. They usually can figure it out. There's a lot of reasons not to live in Texas, just like there's a lot of reasons to leave Florida. When you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. And when you have a legacy of between George W. Bush and Hot Wheels Abbott, and in about 30 years of fuckery in between, eventually you start to pay a price. And I think these conservative news networks and these polling things and these think tanks are starting to get, we can be crazy, we can be cute crazy, we can be like Newt Gingrich crazy, but at the end of the day, Newt Gingrich always did the right thing with Clinton. They always sat down and said, I don't like you and you don't like me, but we'll work it out. We'll pass a budget, we'll make the defense budget work, we'll make the laws work, and our country's the most important thing. The Republicans now are a fire sale. They're already trying to vote out the current not gay, but gay Speaker of the House that has to have a son monitor his masturbation habits. That's who's the Speaker of the House right now.
Yeah.
That's monitored by a teenager, by a child. And that's the best and brightest because they didn't like the guy before because he was too soft of a crazy conservative. And they didn't want to burn down our country and put our financial markets into an absolute tizzy while bitching about inflation. And so Kevin McCarthy and Speaker Johnson, the current Speaker Johnston, actually has a modicum amount of decency and finally did the right thing. They didn't do the right thing initially, and they allowed this coup to happen. But until they figure out how to not bend their leaders at the knee and actually just work, just go to work, stay off the golf course, quit banging porn stars, and just get to work, people, and quit writing books about shooting dogs. The Republican Party needs to pull their collective heads out of their ass, and especially in our birth state of Texas, it brings me great pain to know how many loved ones I have in that state that, for whatever reason, can't afford to leave or don't want to leave. They don't want to leave their fucking home that they probably raised their kids and maybe even their grandkids in. That you and I both have deep familial context and fond memories. But this current version of Texas ain't it. It ain't it. And why it's become a laughing stock. It's embarrassing.
You're completely right, Jenny. And one of the things, I completely agree with you. You mean the Stormy Daniels thing? I actually think that the Stormy Daniels, her being on the stand, to me, is probably more damaging to Trump than any of the other things with people that follow him. Because you can't be a conservative, even a MAGA woman, and not feel some type of anger or even sympathy for Stormy Daniels, because he has said the whole time, I don't know this woman, I didn't sleep with this woman, and you knew in the gut, because he lies so much, that he was lying. But now she's actually on the stand testifying under oath that she did have sex with him, and he is not denying it now. The cross-examination is not saying he never met you. Now they're saying, well, you don't really like him, though. They're not even talking about the sex. They're trying to almost change the subject because he can't deny it's so silly. And so I guess what I'm saying is that there are Republican women, and also I think just MAGA women, who know what it's like to be cheated on and their spouse say, I didn't do it, and know the hurt and what it takes when a guy just doesn't want to admit that kind of lie. And I think that's what I'm seeing with this is more, they will stand by him from other things, but this is one of the things I think that you will have some of the more MAGA women start to go, I can't defend that because I know what it's like. I've had a girlfriend of mine, or something who's been through that. And so anyway, that's kind of my thinking on that. The 1950s rounding up the immigrant thing is just so, it's just mean-spirited. It's racist, and I don't. And I think everyone understands if you are the person who agrees with rounding up immigrants, we have to just come out and just say there's a lot of racism and bigotry that is behind that kind of thinking. Don't try to uh, cover it up by saying, "Well, I'm concerned about this or that." The only people that are concerned about immigrants are people who have some underlining racism and bigotry that just don't like other people like that. I mean, you can't. I just don't know how you can do it. The Texas thing I thought was very hilarious, Jenny, because I want to just tell you the rankings on crime and corrections. Texas ranks number 41. On the economy, they rank number 6. They're very good with their GDP. Education, they rank 29. Fiscal stability, 8. Healthcare 31, infrastructure 19, natural environment 45, and opportunity 48. So there's a lot of rankings that are very, very low. But more importantly, that the newspaper or the magazine that does this study, it's a very conservative magazine. They talk about how Texas has quite often threatened to de-annex or whatever you call it away from the United States. What they don't understand is if it would never happen, but if Texas ever broke away from the United States, they would be closer to Mexico than they were the United States, because the majority of people who live in Texas have more connections with Mexico. And so basically these kind of white supremacist crazy people that want de-annexation, they don't realize that they would actually be closer to brown people than they would be to who they think. They think if they de-annex, they're going to be like this white Daniel. Yeah. There's more Mexican heritage and culture in Texas than there is any other heritage and culture. And if they broke away, they would be more like.
First of all, I don't think they're that smart. I mean, I think the Republican Party, but especially the Texas Republican, whether it's Hot Wheels, Abbott, or any of the fools, I think they're in one of these situations where they're about as dumb can be. Let's just do some real plain spoken. Like, they've got themselves painted in a corner that is so. They've methodically over the last 30 years, they've destroyed the state. Let's just be really honest. They can't even keep the lights on. They can't even keep the place air conditioned and heated. And they've gotten to a certain point where they've run down the trailer park that now is Texas. And now they're mad at everything. They're just lash out. But one of the telling stats that you talked about in that article is the fact that Texas, for a long time, has been sold as land of opportunity. And the fact that they ranked 48th, according to this op-ed poll, in opportunity, they're down with like Mississippi and South Dakota, the dog killing state. And they literally are scraping the bottom of the barrel when they're being ranked like that. And that's one of the big, like Elmo Musk on Twitter. We're going to move taxes. Now I wear cowboy hats. And I'm this big South African racist, Texas cowboy now. And I think they don't realize how many people are leaving or fleeing Texas, like myself, that undoubtedly the first chance I got the heck out of there. And because I saw the tea leaves, I saw a state that was 2 years into the Trump years when I moved here in 2018, and I saw Texas not getting any better. I saw an absolutely cosmic flip and meltdown, and I didn't want a part of it. I didn't want to see the doom and gloom of a place that I have a very sentimental attachment. Also didn't see any opportunity for me. There was so much anti-trans hate in that state that for local employment opportunities were tough for me. When that's where I came out at full time as trans. And I had a tough time getting opportunities because of the hate that was there.
Yeah.
And I'm at least white passing. I at least have white privilege. I can't even imagine a trans person of color finding gainful employment in Texas and fighting back against the hate and doing everything else. And
yeah, I agree with you, Jen.
It's
yeah. And so, hey, listen, we're going to take our first break, and we're going to cut this this show a little bit shorter because Jenny and I did a lot of off-camera conversations, and we do value everyone's time. So we'll be right back on Coffee and Pan Dulce right after this.
So we have a great fall lineup, and we encourage you to tune in to many of our fabulous shows, like our Say show, and many more things in October and November as well. Thanks for watching, as always, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Hey, y'all, thanks for watching, and support local Black and brown businesses, including our sponsor, Manolo Bakery. That has some fabulous pastries, food, king cakes, all kinds of specialty cakes, swallows, and much, much more. Some of the best food you eat in Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, Manolo Bakery, right here in East Charlotte. Thanks for watching. Hey, y'all, thanks for watching the Florida shows. They've been wildly successful. Obviously, it's a topic that you guys have enjoyed and wanted to know more of. And we like talking about the dumpster fire that used to be the state of Florida. And we'll probably talk about it some more this summer. Thanks for watching, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for watching. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching our Coffee and Pan Dulce show every week. Don't forget, you can watch us visually on our video podcast platforms on Facebook and YouTube, but you can also listen to us on your favorite audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all of the other ones that your favorite, whatever your favorite is. Once again, thank you for watching us on Coffee and Pan Dulce. We'll dance out. Well, welcome back, everyone. Thanks. Yeah, I agree with you, Jenny. And so, listen, this kind of, in a little bit, pivots or blends directly into our topic today, the new school voucher welfare queens. And the reason is because the state of Texas, the state that Jane and I were born, our birth state. Is that what the term you're using now? Your birth state. Yeah, your birth state. Yeah, I don't feel like it's my home anymore. Okay. Yeah. Well, so, our birth state and our I call it West Afghanistan. So West Afghanistan, they are having some backlash right now. The state, their rural areas are having backlash to their school voucher program. Their governor there, as Jenny calls Governor Hot Wheels, is trying. He's hell bent on passing legislation there to allow their public taxpayer dollars, public school dollars, to go towards private and religious schools for vouchers. And they're getting a lot of backlash from their rural elected officials and school districts, because that would siphon money away from their foosball, their football stadiums, and all of their sports. And anyone who's grown up in Texas and knows anything about Texas, that's a pretty big deal in these small communities and these rural areas. And so he's not able to pass it. He's called 2 special sessions specifically for that. Here in the state of North Carolina, they have passed legislation where now vouchers, I think they can get up to like $7,700 per child in a voucher, and they can apply it towards a private school, and some of them could be religious. And so the question was, because we had talked about this before, are the school voucher parents now just the new welfare queens? And I say that only to highlight the hypocrisy of those people who are against people receiving assistance and receiving aid, when in fact these are the same people that are going to be receiving this assistance and receiving aid. So I'm curious what you have. Unearned. Go ahead, Jen.
To me, and I think the Florida program is probably the worst one of the 3 that you just mentioned. Is you can homeschool in Florida. You don't have to send them to an academy. Like North Carolina and Texas, I think both require you to get the money it has to go straight to the academy. Like
Okay.
you don't get to handle it first. In Florida, they went one step further because it's Florida, and you can literally say, I'm going to homeschool my kids. I'm going to be my parent, and I'm going to be a teacher. And in that state, you can be taking them to Disney every day in Orlando, and it's still homeschooling, and they'll give you $8,000 cash money right into your account. Like cash money, no accountability. Don't have to prove any receipts. You don't have to prove that you bought any books because, again, books scare conservatives. We wouldn't want any kind of reading or any learning or anything like that. God forbid Catcher in the Rye and Shakespeare is controversial because there was maybe two guys holding a hand or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole.
So how is that not being a welfare queen? I mean, that's.
Well, it is. They're welfare queens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What is the difference between getting a $7,700 to $8,000 voucher? The numbers all are about the same.
Yep.
Let's just call it $8,000.
Sure.
What's the difference between whether it gets paid on your behalf to a private school of your choosing or homeschooling or whatever? It's taking money out of the public fund from a public fund that would typically get assigned to schools based on population.
Yeah. Sure.
It's not going to be available. That money, that's spent money somewhere else. It's not going to stay in the school system. It's not going to go towards a teacher's salary. It's not going to go towards infrastructure.
Sure.
It's going to go to an entity that provides no public value whatsoever, even though it's public school money. It's earmarked for that. Those taxes were dedicated to that. In some cases, like North Carolina, we specifically have a constitutional thing that was part of the Leandro lawsuit that said public schools need to be constitutionally funded. We have a constitutional requirement that even the Republicans are defying. They've gotten sued over. And now, but all of a sudden, we can just give checks like Oprah did on her show. You get a check for school. You get a check for school. Yeah. And then states like Florida take it to the end deal and just handing people straight up cash.
Sure.
Straight up cash.
Well, I think the argument that they have, which I've heard, is their argument is we pay taxes and we're just getting our taxes back. Well, you know what? Let's just say we agree with that argument. You know, people who are on food stamps or public assistance temporarily, they also pay taxes too. So they're just getting their taxes back. You know, and so, whenever I hear this argument about, it's our taxes, everyone pays taxes in one way or another, whether you pay sales taxes or a uses taxes, whatever, and they're getting their taxes back. So whenever we give people taxes back whenever we give people money to help them during the COVID crisis, they're just getting their taxes back from what they have paid. The only people that aren't paying taxes and getting taxes back are corporations. They pay no taxes, but yet they get taxes back. So that whole argument, I think, is just so hypocritical. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to use the term welfare queens, is because it does have this image of taking advantage of the system, because that's kind of the mentality they've tried to convince people. Well, if we even go by that mentality, these people who are getting these vouchers are taking advantage of the system. And so that's why I want to use the term welfare queens. Hey, listen, we're going to take our second break. When we come back, I do want to ask you about something you talked about in your show, Jenny, you know what, let's go and take our third break. So if you like what you're hearing from Jenny, she does have a show that comes on 30 minutes after this. It's called Two Queers in a Truck, and it drops every Wednesday at 11:30. So please join her show, and I'm going to talk about something that she talked about because I stole it. And so we'll be right back on Two Queers in a Truck. We'll be right back on Coffee and Pan Dulce talking about her show, Two Queers in a Truck.
Hey guys, I've got a special product out, and we've got a store under the name blueapplytech.com. And you can go on our Etsy store, you can go on our social media, and you can check out our merchandise. We have some amazing snowflake Trump mugshot ornaments. We have mugs, we have pillow covers. We have a lot of cute stuff for the holiday season that you can buy. and it's great fun. And it goes to a good cause. It goes to my company, and it's helping us out getting started. And also, it just, who doesn't want a historic snowflake Trump ornament?
Exactly.
This year.
That's funny. What's the name of it again?
And the name of the company is Blue, like the color blue, Applied, APPLIED Tech, like technology.
Blue Applied Tech. Ah, cool.
And so you can look us up. We have a website, but our store is on Etsy, and a lot of people use Etsy for different types of great gifts. They are assembled in the United States, so it creates American jobs. And most of all, it's a lot of fun, and they're not expensive.
Cool.
So,
Blue Applied Tech. Got it.
Correct. Come seek us out and buy some gifts.
Cool. Hey everyone, this is Christian Cano with the Coffee and Pan Dulce Show. I want to thank everyone who watched our wonderful summer shows. We had incredible viewership and incredible listenership numbers. And we also want to let you know that our fall schedule is out. We have some great shows coming in September, October, and November. So please stay with us all fall and watch our fall shows on Coffee and Pan Dulce. I'll dance out.
Up next is Two Queers in a Truck with Jenny and Christian. And hope you guys tune in. We'll see you in about 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you. Bye.
All right. So don't forget to watch Jenny's show. So Jenny, on your show, you talk about this, which I think is just both hilarious, but it's also interesting. So the governor of South Dakota, what's her name? Christine.
Christine.
Yeah. So, she's got a book coming out and she's doing her book tour, where there's two issues that have been raised. First of all, she murders her dog because her dog was And then apparently now she's saying that she in the book she says she met Kim Jong Young, whatever his name is, the dictator from North Korea. But now she's saying, well, it was anecdotal and it should have been in the book. And she just won't come out and admit that she never met him. And she's still getting flack from the dog thing. So what are your thoughts about this lady? The reason I want to mention this to you, because you had a really good point on your show. You said that, and I'm paraphrasing, something about, I think they thought that she would just kind of go under the radar and then they could kind of nominate her for vice president without knowing her, but the fact that she did this book, people realize she's kind of a little crazy.
Well, so first of all, you have to look at the history of the Republican Party and their recent nominees for vice presidents. And she very much evokes the same image that Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin on paper was from a state that we typically forget that's even a state, which is Alaska. It's way up there. Mostly it's just a big block of ice. And it's got an extremely small population. It's a very, very, like, the men in the state outnumber the women like 5-1 because it's mostly just people working. It's not a state like a Texas or Florida. It's not a large population, or a California. It's not a large population state. And so they're taking a governor that typically would not be in the news. To keep from distracting from the primary candidate, which is an older white male. Trump doesn't want to run with a strong Veep. He wants to run with a useful idiot. Yeah. The flight of the day shifted from Mike Pence, the gay, not gay politician from Indiana, and shifted it to an even dumber, more tragic version. And the fact that they picked this person that they know is at the bottom of the food chain politically and is really not meant for primetime TV, that is not presidential in any way, shape, or form. Kristi Noem shouldn't even try to spell president, because I don't think she can. And much less even apply for the second in command job, because we all know that Trump's not the epitome of health. But the most important thing is she says shit just to say shit, and then writes it in a book or had it written in a book by somebody else, and then tries to go, just like Trump's goes, well, I didn't have sex, but if I did, and they start to do this little shuffle. And this little dance where
what had happened was
I want the benefit and the press benefit of being famous for saying really cruel and stupid things.
Yeah.
But they don't want to answer for it. They don't want the accountability part. So they want to fuck around, but they don't want to find out. And here's the problem.
Exactly.
If you fuck around, the half of the other equation is find out. The universe does not care about you not wanting to pay the price. The universe is always going to give you a karmatic shit sandwich, and it's going to say, Boo Bear, if you are going to write about assassinating your dog, instead of just giving it up to a shelter like any other decent human being, because it was a working dog, and working dogs tend to have high energy. And she was saying, well, and trying to do all these, well-butt things. At the end of the day, you didn't have to give it the death penalty.
Yeah.
And when you do psycho shit and say psycho shit, and then you get mad because people go, that's psycho shit, maybe you shouldn't be the vice presidential nominee. Even when the conservative networks are starting to say that, they're starting to cringe. NASA, you got
it highlights, and you've made some really good points on your show, and I really, because a lot of them I never really thought of it from that perspective, but you're completely right, Jenny. I do think that the plan was all this time to keep her under the radar. She was doing a bunch of crazy things in her state, with transgender youth, with just a bunch of things in general. She was doing all the MAGA hateful stuff, even to the DeSantis stuff. It wasn't getting a lot of attention because she does come from a kind of very insignificant state, insofar as it's a small state. A lot of, it's just a really, really, it's a
shithole. South Dakota.
Okay, all right. Well, and I think if she had not done the book, it would have taken time for that to come out. But in many ways, it shows almost the disconnect and the arrogance of the MAGA movement and the MAGA people, that they thought that they could actually hide her, do this book, and that she could say that she killed her kid, and that she met Kim Jong-un or whatever his name is, and that no one would actually fact check it and say, no, that's not right. Because even the Republican aide of hers, a former, said that she was full of bullshit. And that's when she started walking it back and saying, well, it was anecdotal, what she meant. She's not saying I didn't meet him. She is saying she's met a lot of world leaders, and if she had met him, she would have stared him. It's just silly. It's stupid. But I have a question for you, because I know we don't have a lot more time. But you've said a lot, and I really agree with you. You've said a lot about the do it and find out phase, or what is the term you use? Fuck around, find out. Okay, and that is, there are very few. I don't know what the word to use. There are very few things in life that just will always happen. And I know there's the saying, it's death and taxes. It's something that will happen to everyone. You will die and you will have to pay taxes. But there's also another thing in life that will always happen. If you fuck around, there will be a find out phase. I don't care who you are, you will find out. So the MAGA people, especially Trump, that's one of the reasons why people minimize their amount of fuck around, because they know eventually it'll come out. It'll come back to haunt them. And so what do you think their thinking is? Do you think they think like MTG, Boebert? Do you think Matt Gaetz? Do you think they think it will never come back to haunt me? It will never come back. You know what I mean? Do they think that it just doesn't apply to them?
Well, I think that
because they've got to know it's going to come back. Yeah,
I think they believe that they're above it, and that they should be. Trump's mentality the whole time with all these trials, the civil trials, he's maintained it's all a witch hunt. It's a Democrat fueled liberal bias against him, and the media's involved, and a whole bunch of other people are involved. Because the only thing they can say, and this is the only thing, is that the president-elect, specifically Donald Trump, has immunity. And it's been the overarching theme is that if I mess with the election, it's just part of politics. If it is, I paid off a couple strippers and a couple, porn stars. It's not a big deal. It happens. I don't even know if I slept with her or not. Between cocaine, I have no idea. Yeah. It's one of these things. It's like the old cringy saying, "Boys will be boys." It is assumed when you get to a certain station of life, you should have the privilege to just get away with it. Whether it is Weinstein and the Me Too movement, or Trump and the Women's March, in life there's this. They get angry or indignant at some point where they go, well, you shouldn't feel that sort of way because I'm above you. I deserve, or I'm entitled to get away with this because white men have gotten away with this for centuries, and we put them on. Or why can't I do it too? But we're in an era where we see everything is documented. Internet's forever. Every fucking thing you do, whether you write a book, do a podcast, do a stupid interview where you look like a moron, like Christine looks like. She doesn't look like a moron. She is a moron.
Yeah.
If you're that stupid to make up a lie about Kim Il-jung, because we can look up flight records.
Exactly. It's like
we live in an era where I can go,
she's like
a plane and flew down to Florida. I wonder why he was down there. Like, on Snapchat, there's a really innocuous feature, you turn it on or off, but I usually leave it on. But people can look at if they're a friend of mine on Snapchat, they can see where I'm at with GPS. Shows a little cartoon character to me. Like if I'm sitting in Charlotte, North Carolina, they can see a little cartoon emoji of me sitting in Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay. We have that technology. Like the $6 million man, we have the ability to build Steve Austin. We have that in spades now, and we can do the Google machine and the interwebs and the metas and the books of the faces. We literally can look into anybody's life, and if you write something stupid, you do something stupid. We're not in an era where cover-ups are even possible anymore.
Sure.
They're buying bodies now and advertising. Talk about it ad nauseum.
Sure.
And the best thing you can do, and this is what got Bill Clinton in so much trouble in the 90s, and this is what would have got him forgiveness if he just would have gone on air and said, damn it.
I did it.
And that girl, she gives wonderful oral sex.
And that's...
And we love stogies. And just, if he would have done that, dead ass looked in the camera and said, I'm sorry, America. I'm sorry to disappoint you. And begged for forgiveness and been contrite. Like Jim Swagger, when he bought a lot of goodwill just by crying crocodile tears and saying, I sinned. But it ended his controversy pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
Or Donald Trump has a few good men monologue, goes, you need me on that wall. I am on that. If Donald Trump would say, yeah, I banged her. I took Viagra and I banged her like a screaming hurricane. We would say, cool. All right.
So listen, that I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's going to lead directly into our Pendejo Chronicles. And this is the Pendejo Chronicles. All right. The Pendejo of the week is Donald Trump. I don't understand why in 2024, everything that we've been through with social media, he is still denying that he slept with Stormy Daniels and the other lady that they've talked about in this trial, and anyone. And he's still denying that he met this lady that he lost a defamation suit to. Because especially, and I'm not just saying women voters, because men have had people cheat on them as well. Anyone who's had a spouse cheat on them knows the pain and hurt when they deny it, and they don't give you the satisfaction of just saying, I'm screwed up.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm just a dumbass, and I think with the little head instead of the big head. They just cop to it. Just cop to it, dude. Like everybody fucked. I fuck up probably on a daily basis. But if you own it, you process it, you learn from it. The American people are very forgiving.
Yes.
We're a very forgiving people. Just as we're very much, we'll rush to judgment or we'll get angry really fast, like the 9/11 and go get them George mentality. We also are very forgiving and loving people. We donate more to the world than anybody else. We volunteer more than anybody else. We do a lot of things that no other nations will do. We send out so much money in food relief, in famine relief, and so many other things because we're a good-hearted people. We're very bipolar. We may bomb you for 10 years, and then we'll rebuild your country better than it was before.
That's an excellent point.
And that's who America is we have a very bipolar, helter-skelter existence. But we are, in the grand scheme of things, we are a teenager amongst nations that have been around for thousands of years. Yeah. And we're just a hormonal hot mess of a people. And we just really, we want to forgive Donald Trump. Yeah. We do. We want to move on. We want to move on because forgiveness and grace, which is tantamount to almost every religion and every belief system, is I want to forgive you for me, but I also want to give you the grace. I don't want to keep going through this or keep reliving this. And what Donald Trump's not doing, he's not allowing the country to heal. He's not letting the Republican Party to heal, which makes me really sad because even Nixon said, I shamed the presidency and I must resign. And I'm taking Agnew with me because he's dumber than a stump post. And we all know that he can't be president too. We're going to go get this Ford dude, and he's coming in. Yeah. But at least I think it would go a million miles further if he would just sit down and work out a plea bargain and not run for the presidency, and would just gracefully age out. And he could still be a fundraiser. He could still make money on politics. Yeah, he could still scam people. He could sell all the. He could sell constitutionally branded Bibles the rest of his life. Yeah, like he doesn't need the presidency.
I just think he's too big of a dick. He just can't do it, and that's what's so terrible.
Day of the week because he is
exactly
a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
and he's so abusive to everybody in his life that one of the chief people testifying this, Michael Cohen, went to prison for this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he still got the audacity and the caucasity Trump does to act like he didn't do a dickhead move because he was married to Melania.
Sure.
She was pregnant at the time of the affair.
Yes, she was. And he told her when they met, he told her, don't worry, my wife and I don't sleep in the same beds. So
probably true.
Yeah. Well, it was because she was probably pregnant, and he was probably saying, "Oh, you need your sleep" and stuff like that. But it was just, he was.
Spartacus.
It's just, Spartacus, exactly. Hey, listen, this has been a great show. Thank you, Jen. When this show drops, this show is going to drop on May the 15th. As Jenny said, we're halfway through the month of May. Kind of hard to believe, the 5th month of the year. We just got 6 more months till the election, and then a good 2025. And so, Jenny, do you have any plans on the weekend after this or the week after this show drops?
So tonight, putting on the hat on of it being May 15th, I will actually be at the Real Out Film Festival. So you still have time to get tickets for tonight and probably the rest of the week. I'm sure it will not completely sell out. And if it does, pick another night. There's 5 nights of wonderful films starting tonight and running through the weekend. But I will be there tonight, watching the short films that I helped induct into the film festival. And it's fun. Tonight is free, so if you just go online and reserve a seat, it doesn't cost any money. There's very few things that are this entertaining and still free, but you can donate. There's donate options as well, and we will take your money. We won't turn it away. And this is put on my Charlotte Pride and the Real Out Film Festival, and we do it every year in May. It's one of the reasons I love May.
Excellent. All right. And I will be camping. Believe it or not, I'll be in the mountains of North Carolina, an undisclosed location. So very, very excited. I'm sure that'll be the way it is all summer until I go to the other undisclosed location. So listen, this has been a great show. I just want to remind you that we do have a couple more shows left for the month of May until we start our summer shows. The next show that we will talk about will be this summer. Will this be the summer to save democracy 2024? Is this going to be the last summer that American voters have to save our democracy? I hope it will be, but that's what we'll talk about, what needs to be done during the summer. And then the last show of the year, the last show of the month, which drops on May 29th, is our third edition to The Dumbest American State. It will be between the state of Texas and Florida, or as Jenny said, maybe we may add South Dakota, or I don't know, one of the other states. So that'll be our last show of the month, and then we'll start our summer shows, which will be about Pride and Florida and all the wonderful shows that you are so accustomed to. So Jenny, thank you so much. Great show. Don't forget to watch her show that comes on after this one. Her show is called Two Queers in a Truck, and we'll see you next week. So, all right. Bye, boo. See y'all later. All right. Here we go.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching Coffee and Pan Dulce like you always do. We're already halfway through May. Be safe out there. We are in storm season, and we are coming to summer.
Watch out for the cicadas.
Watch out for the cicadas as well, and everything else that goes with the summertime fun. But thanks for listening and watching, and we will see you next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Hey, y'all. This is Jenny here, and it is amazing. We're already into April, and I really want to thank you for watching all of our winter lineup and our early spring lineup. And you are what makes this show great. Is otherwise it'd just be Christian and I talking to each other. And but you're the reason why we do this, and we truly do appreciate all of our listeners and viewers, and even some of the MAGAs that post on our Facebook. Anyway, have a great week and happy April.
Happy April. Bye, y'all.
Next up, thanks for watching Coffee and Pan Dulce. Next up is Two Queers in a Truck. Stay tuned.
Coffee and Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee and Pan Dulce.
Sounds great.
You sounded like a telenova. I mean,
I'm trying this. All I have to say is go. Yes.
As a non-Spanish speaker.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. When you hear the music. Hey, Jim, when we come back, we're just going to talk about 5 minutes about what you think about school vouchers. And then we'll go back to, I want to talk about the dog thing for the last section. So, All right, here we go. I messed that one up. So when we were on the break, I got this phone call and the person said, "Hi, it's Charles Manston. Long story short, I would love to purchase your home. I represent Zoom Property, have buyers. We want to buy your home. Please feel free to give us a call at any time." It's like, all right. Anyway.
Sorry.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm coming back.
Coffee and Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee and Pan Dulce.